finally I got a 5080 and a 5090, my 5090, and I will show you the comparison in my computer, how they compare also against the 3090 and the 5070 Ti. My computer is a AMD 9950X. Here you see these are the GPUs I am comparing. So first of all, I just did a comparison with DaVinci Resolve 19.1.4 by letting the Puget bench to run. And here you see the overall score. Always I take the 3090 as 100%, while the other scores are here, and you see the overall score standard is 40% faster with the 5090, it is 15% faster with the 5070 Ti, and 16% faster with the 5080. Now in the basic, the 5090 will get 34% faster, while the other two are 23 and 25% faster. So here you see the absolute scores, where you get almost 16,000 score with the 5090. Here you see a little bit more detailed that the fusion score from the Puget benchmark is not having that big differences. So while the 3090 is 100%, the fastest will be the 5090 with 11% faster, while the other two cars, a little bit strangely, the 5070 Ti was a little bit faster here than the 5080, but was only 4%, while the other one was 6%. Now the GPU effects, this had been very similar with the 5070 Ti and the 5080 with 8 and 9% faster, while the big surprise was here 205% faster with the 5090. So the GPU effects will get a very big boost by using the 5090. The raw scores had been not that much faster between the 3090 and the 5070 Ti. I got the same scores, while the 5080 was a little bit faster, 10%, and the 5090 was 25% faster. The interframe score had been very similar, so 3% faster, the 5070 Ti, 5080 and 5090. The long up, here all the new graphic cards have been much faster, so 67% faster with the 5070 Ti, 64% faster with the 1580 and 82% faster with the 5090. So a little bit strange why the 5070 Ti was faster here and here than the 5080. With the new version of DaVinci Resolve 20, Puget Bench is not running right now. So to test the impact of this change, I just had to run my own files. And here you see it's just some footage from my DaVinci Resolve where I put some 8K, some RAW, some non-RAW files from the R5 MKII and from the R5C. And all the values here, the scores you will see, are from the RAW files, and in the second screen it will be with the non-RAW files. What we can see here is that in the RAW footage the 3090 is similar like the 5070 Ti in 4K 30, in 4K 60 with the R5 MKII. Then the 5K 30 is a little bit faster with the 5070 Ti and the 5080, and it is quite faster with the 5090. So in all these scores you see the yellow one here, it is 38, 50%, 71%, 29, 43, 40 and 33% faster in exporting RAW files, and also the playback is about the same thing. It will be way faster with the 5090. But all the others are also good, so with all these GPUs everything will work fine. But just we can see here that the 3090 is very close to the 5070 Ti. Here it's the same, here it's close, close, same, same. While the 5080 is a little bit faster, in average I would say 10%. Here 10%, 9, 9, 9, 13%, 11%, 17% and 14%. So yeah, for the raw processing, the 5080 is a little bit better than the 4070 Ti, while the 4070 Ti is very close with the 3090, and the 3090 is much cheaper. This is tested with DaVinci Resolve version 19, but also with DaVinci Resolve 20. So I saw no difference between both versions of DaVinci Resolve when I was watching the raw files. And they work with all the 4 GPUs and my CPU, the AMD 9950X, very well. Let's see the impact to the H.265 and XF-AVC footage from the R5C and the R5 MKII. Here you see the 8K30 was with the version DaVinci Resolve 19, and here when I don't write DR20, here and here, all the other is tested with DaVinci Resolve 19.1.4, and when I have no other score, it means that the scoring with DaVinci Resolve 19.1.4 was exactly the same like with DaVinci Resolve 20. So only 3 formats had an improvement, a change, and a very big change. So while the 8K30 H.265 from the R5C 422 was about the same speed with the older DaVinci Resolve, so the 3090 had 25 seconds and all the others had been 24 seconds. This changed dramatically with the DaVinci Resolve 20, where still the 3090 stays at 25 seconds, but the 5070 Ti and the 5080 just got almost double as fast than what it was before. So instead of 24 seconds, they are now at 13 seconds. And the 5090 got to 11 seconds. So it's 227%, while the other two are 192% in this format. Now, 8K30 long op was with all the GPUs at 15 FPS, and here I also got a big improvement, while the 3090 stays exactly like it is. With 5080 and the 5070 Ti, I went down to 8 and to 7 with the 5090, so 214% faster with H.265 422 long op from the R5 MKII. Now the 8K H.265 422 intraframe from the R5 MKII got no impact. So it was 13 FPS with all the 4 GPUs. That means that they are rendered most probably by the CPU and not by the GPU. 4K60 from the R5C from H.265 422, it had been 10 seconds for the rendering of the same sequence, and after the update with the new DaVinci Resolve 20, it went down from 10 seconds to 7 seconds with the 5070 Ti and the 5080, and to 6 seconds with the 5090. So 167%, while here it's 143, a very good boost. Now the other file formats had no impact. XF-AVC 422 from the R5C in 4K60 was 7 seconds with the 3090 and exactly the same speed with the 5070 Ti and the 5080, while it was faster about 17% with the 5090. Same thing with the XF-AVC intraframe from the R5C, where the 5090 is 20% faster, while the other 3 are similar. Exactly the same thing also with the long op from the R5 MKII in H.265 422, and in H.265 422 with 4K 120, 3 of the GPUs are exactly the same, while the 5070 Ti is a little bit slower. What was a little bit strange, why is it slower than the 3090? If you see these scores, then you could say that with the old DaVinci Resolve, or depending on what formats you are using, you could say it's almost better to have the 3090, but yeah, since DaVinci Resolve 20, I would say, especially if you work with 8K 30 files, I saw that you have a playback, a real-time playback, at least in combination with my CPU. You can work. It's the first time where I have no duck when I play back the 8K 30 in I think 4K timeline, but it's playing really smooth, and this is really great news for any Canon user who wants to use 8K 30. All the files what you saw before, I also rendered them together with the old DaVinci Resolve 19. It was almost the same speed for the overall with the 3090, like it is with the 5070 Ti. So it was just 1% faster, while the 5080 was 3% faster and the 5090 was 18% faster. But with DaVinci Resolve 20, we can see here the 3090 is staying exactly with the same speed. And now if I let all the file formats to render together, this is seconds, instead of 165 seconds or 164, the 5070 Ti went down to 153 seconds, so 8% faster, while the 5080 got a boost of 11%. It was 3% faster, now it is 14% faster. And the best score was with the 5090, where instead of 18% faster, now it is 57% faster for the overall of everything. And then I also thought, okay, it's not the really big difference, but what is the difference and for what we do need the RAM from the GPU? So for that I just made a little fusion test. I will show you here the fusion test. Wait. And here you can see it is a VR180, where if I let this here, you see real time. Wait. I will go down a little bit with the voice, and I want first to start here the task manager so that we can see the GPU, and here you see the GPU memory is over 16 and together it's 24.4, and so yeah, if I let it run here, we can see the memory is 30 and it uses over 20, and here it playback, yeah, quite nicely with 59 FPS. I will stop it here and I will show you just what I'm doing in the Fusion tab. So this is here. Oops. So here you see, yeah, it is for the one eye, for the left eye, and for the right eye you have to place the text exactly that if you wear a 3D glass VR180, it has to calculate both eyes so that if you go left or right, that the text will be exactly synchron. And if it's not like that, you will get mad. If you look at that and the text from the one eye to the other is just not exactly like it should be, I can't watch that for 3 seconds if I do an error. But for this you saw that we need a lot of RAM. And here it is 28. And so this was a test here. Just the rendering of this little sequence from this is with Fusion, this is with Fusion, and this is without Fusion. But for the rendering of this sequence, we can go over here again to the score. It took 73 seconds with the 5090. It took 161 seconds with the 3090, and 235 seconds with the 5070 Ti, and a little bit slower with the 5080, 244 seconds. So while the 5090 is let's say 121% faster than the original. The other two are way slower, and this is because the RAM gets full. So if you are using heavily things what will fill up your RAM of the GPU, then it is better to have a GPU with more video RAM. And this is exactly here this test what we can see. So massively slower if you use just 16 GB RAM. It would be also way slower if you have a GPU with 10 GB RAM. So in some sequences, while here you will get let's say 30 FPS, with this here it falls down to 5 FPS rendering per second. And with this score here and the knowledge that more RAM is needed in some cases, maybe if you plan to do a lot of fusion things or rendering things, maybe the better GPU would be a 24 GB 3090. And for my bad luck, I already sold my 4090 some month ago, and this would have been interesting to see where it is placed. I would guess it will be somewhere here, but I have no 4090 anymore. That was the comparison between the GPUs, and that means now I will sell the 5080, the 5070 Ti and the 3090. I just bought them. I have no sponsor. I bought them just to make this test and to have a graphic card until my 5090 will come, and as it came now, I can sell all the other GPUs. I hope this can bring you something. After all this information, I would say that the 5090 is an absolutely overkill if you don't need the video RAM. So if you just do some color grading and some putting some titles and things like that, then you don't need a 5090. But if you do heavy things like with Fusion, then the 5090 would be a nice thing. And in this case also a 4090 or a 3090 would be better than a 5080 or a 5070 Ti. For other things, and if you want just to get the benefit to work with 8K 30 files in H.265 422 from Canon at least, but I guess also from some other cameras, then the 5080 or the 5070 Ti would be great options. And in this case, to work with this 8K H.265 422 files, it would be the better option than a 3090 or also than any 40 card, even than the 4090. Thank you very much for watching this video, and please tell me in the comments if you want me to show something else. But I can't compare anymore the GPUs because I will only keep the 5090. So thank you very much and see you next time. Bye!